What up, guys? This is Andrew Wright with another review, The Right Thing, coming to you with some more music reviews. Well, reviews as in not reviews, because we are not plural on this. I'm only doing one solo review today. In fact, this is my first video. I'm going to try to make it more of an effort to do solo reviews in a lot of these videos for each individual album. More just because I feel like it'll benefit my content, I guess, as far as what people want to see, how they want to see it. Not everybody wants to watch one of my videos and just see 10 albums that I've been listening to lately because, you know, I have music ADD a lot of the times. You know, I'll listen to an album once or twice thoroughly, and then, you know, maybe it'll go on in the background, it'll go on when I'm driving often, and it'll be on repeat, or it won't get listened to at all, and I'll go to the next thing. And so, you know, I pretty regularly have a rotation of albums that I listen to on Spotify or on vinyl, on CD. At the moment, there's been less vinyl and CD because I'm not working, so I'm not seeing as much stuff come into work. And a lot of time I don't even really buy a whole lot of new music. It ends up kind of sitting in my Amazon queue for quite a while until I, you know, maybe accumulate some money, or I'm not buying a bunch of Blu-rays or a bunch of toys, and maybe I have some extra funds to spend on music, or maybe one month I'm buying way more music and buying no toys and no Blu-rays, and so that happens. It's very much a rotation. It kind of just depends on releases, what I see at work. I don't do a whole lot of online ordering because I just prefer to support local business. That, and I'm very much an in-hand person. I'd rather pick it up off the shelf and be like, yes, this is the item, and then purchase it, as opposed to just, you know, going on a click frenzy on the internet and filling up my cart, and before I know it, I'm broke. There's a level of, I still am very much impulsive and buy it and don't think about the monetary spending on it as much, you know. Same thing with if I was to just fill my card up and go, I'm going to blow all of my paycheck right now, click. The money gets spent either way, but this way it's in hand, I've got it, you know. And I guess if I was to buy everything online, there'd be nothing I would really be looking for. So I prefer to be able to go out and find things in the wild. If there's something that I really, really want, I'll pre-order it, or I'll get it, you know, I'll buy it day of and have it, you know, mailed to me within a few days or whatever, you know, or if it's something I can find in store, I'll go there day one and grab it, you know, something like that. However, most of the time I sit and kind of just wait for myself, for the universe to find me, and the things that I'm looking for will eventually come to me. So that's kind of how I view a lot of things. With toys, I'm a little bit more up on, but Blu-rays and music are, you know, unless, like I said, if it's something I really want, I'll pre-order it immediately, or buy it immediately, or go seek it out immediately. But a lot of other things are just kind of more as they come to me. I will track them down, you know, slowly seek them out, look for them while I'm at the store. If they're not there, well, we'll check next week. That kind of thing. I very much prefer to shop that way, go into brick and mortar, support small stores, even support big stores. I mean, I just prefer, I'm a consumer of the 90s, so I am all about basically going out and looking for things. I use the internet almost as a last resort. So right now I've been using it more as a first resort because I can't exactly just go out and shop. I mean, I could, but I'm not an asshole. Or at least I try not to be. Sometimes I guess I'm an asshole. I look like an asshole, but I don't always act like an asshole. We were going way off tangent. Coming back to Earth, this is my first solo review. I wanted to do, you know, because nobody wants to see the same 10 albums, like I said. Maybe they want to look at my review on one album. So right now I'm going to be talking to you about the new Black Dahlia Murder, Verminous. And honestly, so we're going to go say something first off. This is very much a, how do I word this? Take this with a grain of salt type of thing. This is my least favorite Black Dahlia Murder album. So I will say that right off the bat. However, it is not a bad album, and I feel like it well deserves attention, time, dedication. It's not necessarily anything deep or multi-layered, anything that necessarily takes, multi-listens to, comprehend all of the ideas and elements that are going on to the album. It's pretty much a cut and dry melodic death metal album, but it's different for Black Dahlia. Black Dahlia have been doing this since 2003 when they first released Unhallowed, this being their 9th album. A lot of the stuff has been pretty similar. They've expanded on certain ideas with the last couple albums, and here we are with this, and we have lost Ryan Knight, the lead guitar player that's been with the group for quite a many years, and we are replaced with the guitar player from Arsis, Brandon Ellis. So with Brandon Ellis, brings a little bit different of an element to Black Dahlia Murder. I don't know Brandon Ellis's, career prior to Arsis. However, I know Arsis is another melodic death metal band. However, they're totally different than Black Dahlia Murder. Well, not totally different, but they're different enough from Black Dahlia Murder to where I knew that this was going to bring something different to the table with his songwriting ability and his play style. But I really like this album. I think it's actually a pretty solid record. Starts off with the track Verminous, which instantly right off the bat it's going to be something different. It's a little bit slower of a tempo than most Black Dahlia Murder. Riffage is a little bit more melodic, obviously slowed down too, along with the drums. And so, like I said, you're kind of just already, right off the bat, something a little bit different. And it's kind of like, all right, let's see where this goes. As the song goes, I think it kind of gets weaker throughout the end of the track. Certain riffs are kind of just too relied on, and they go a little bit too long. This song, I think, would benefit from being a little bit shorter. Possibly just maybe some different songwriting ideas to break up that little bit of monotony at the end. But otherwise, I think this track's really awesome. Next up, we have Godlessly, which I think is a ripping song. This sounds a little bit more closely related to classic Black Dahlia. Again, got a lot of melody to it, so it's a little bit more slowed down than prior records. However, the chorus part definitely breaks into a faster riff, bunch of blast beats. Trevor's vocals sound insane on this. Honestly, on the whole record, I feel like his vocals are definitely a little bit different. They have, I don't want to bring up Cattle Decapitation as a reference, but Travis's vocals get real shrilly, I guess. I don't know the proper term to use, but so like Trevor's vocals in this almost kind of approach that, sound in his screech, in his higher vocal patterns, and so it adds like a rawness to it, and I really like it. I think it's pretty awesome. So this track just hits, and honestly I think like the rest of the album hits pretty good. Again, it does slow down a little bit in some places. Tempo is not always the breakneck blast beats that we expect from Black Dahlia Murder. Still sounds very melodic. Obviously At the Gates would come to mind for most people as far as influence for Black Dahlia Murder. Some people even say it's a blatant ripoff. I don't care. I like At the Gates. I like Black Dahlia Murder. I like The Haunted. And they can all share each other's sound for all I care. I'm excited that somebody else is kind of just continuing that idea. In Flames kind of stopped, and some of the other more, Swedish melodic death metal I'm not as into. Some of it I love. It just kind of depends. And so I'm all for somebody who wants to continue with the At the Gates style of Swedish death metal or Swedish melodic death metal. So I'm happy with those ideas in this album. I'm happy with their decision to kind of slow things down a little bit, change a little bit of their dynamic. To me, I'm all okay with it. I guess where the album kind of just falters for me is, like I said, certain songs might, have an intro that starts off that I feel like either didn't develop soon enough and kind of just kept going with the same thing for a moment, or, same thing with Verminous, like I said, that title track. The ending of it kind of just drags on for a second. And I'm all for, I don't mind things that are a little bit repetitive when they reuse a riff over and over again. At times it really works, and at times it doesn't. I just feel like this is one of the times that it really doesn't work. It would have benefited not necessarily from a shorter length because the tracks are already only like 3.5 minutes. Most of these tracks are relatively around 4.5 minutes, which is typical for a Black Dahlia Murder song. You're not going to get these 8-minute long, grandiose songs out of them. It's very much just cut and dry. Here's our song, bam, in your face, over. This one obviously lingers a little bit more just because of the tempo. The riffs are a little bit heavier. I feel like this album definitely has more of a death metal influence, more thrash influence. And so as a result, it works in certain areas, doesn't work in others. Overall, like I said, I think this is an awesome album. I'm looking very much forward to what they put out in the future, how they further develop this musical style that they've obviously chosen on this record. And so overall, I would give this album a 7.5 out of 10. I know a lot of people, it's very polarizing. They've referred to it as their Heartwork, which for me, I hated Heartwork at the beginning because I love, old school Carcass. I want the crazy, dirty gore grind, just as disgusting as you can bring it to me. Heartwork's very polished, very clean, very melodic, and so obviously a lot of people didn't like that, and I came into that album late. I came into a lot of this music as a whole late. I grew up on Slipknot, Mudvayne, Stained, a bunch of just the standard nu metal that was around in the early 2000s when I was growing up, and that's basically what I grew up on. And now I'm 33, and I've kind of expanded into different things. And where was I going with that? This is where I would benefit from writing stuff down. Oh, yes. And so, like I said, Heartwork, I enjoy it. I think it's a great record now. Obviously, it's very different from most Carcass, but obviously they continued that sound even with Surgical Steel. So this being Black Dahlia Murder's Heartwork, I don't think is necessarily a diss. Obviously, for Carcass fans, that, like I said, that record was very polarizing. For Black Dahlia Murder fans, this record is also very polarizing. And so to refer to it as their Heartwork, I don't think is, too bad of a comparison. I think it pretty much is spot on. It is very melodic. Tempo is very much slowed down. Not as heavy as blast beats. Songwriting is definitely a little bit more tender at times, if that makes sense. It doesn't, but it does. It's definitely just not as blistering and in your face. And so for that, I guess, is part of the reason it's not as good for me as prior works. I'm all for a band changing and trying something new. However, I can also just be a fanboy and go, I don't like it when a band changes, and I want them to put out the same record over and over and over again. And I guess with Black Dahlia, that's just kind of how I felt a little bit. It's just like, I don't care if they keep releasing the same record over and over again. Songwriting is still just tight as hell. I love Trevor and company, and so I think I will support anything they do. So, like I said, with this record being a little bit different, that might have just added to part of my distaste for it, I guess. But overall, I think this record kicks ass, and I'm excited for anything else that they come out with in the future to develop this sound further. I'm looking forward to it. So, like I said, give it a 7.5 out of 10. And let me know what you guys think. Did you like this review? I know I rambled on a lot at the beginning. Obviously, every review won't be like that, but I am going to try to single each video to be a certain album. Let me know if you like that format. If you weren't watching them anyways, it doesn't matter. But, I look forward to your feedback. So, thank you guys again for watching. Let me know what you think of this record. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you like Black Dahlia at all in general? Do you like metal in general? Maybe you don't. In which case, if you want a good place to start off, let me know in the comments. We can chit-chat. I can maybe recommend some stuff that would be a good starting point. Something that's a little bit more accessible to mainstream listeners. And so, let me know. I have 4,000 CDs behind me. This is only about half of it. A lot of it's boxed up. But I'm sure I can help you out with something, But anyways, it's been great. And look forward to another review. I'm going to be talking about the new Ulcerate. Probably a couple other things I want to talk about here in the future. Again, it's going to be just time. I just did another video for an Eric Rohmer collection for Blu-rays. I've been playing Animal Crossing. It's consuming my life. All I want to do is buy turnips and sell turnips in the stock market. Well, whatever. But anyways, guys, Click subscribe, click the little bell. It'll notify you when I put up more content. And I hope you're all staying safe still in this wonderful, wonderful quarantine environment. Don't inject yourself with disinfectant. And I hope you all will live to see another day. Have a great one. Goodbye.